fellas, it's been a year since my rebuilt IDI turbo got back on the road. Let's talk about it. We're going to do another little walkthrough. We're going to talk about the changes, kind of some of the struggles that I've had, and the good and the bad and the in-between, and whatever else I feel like ranting about. So to start off, this is my 1990 F250. It was my grandpa's pickup. I repainted it when I was 15. No, it's not perfect, but I don't feel like painting it again, so we're stuck with it. It is a 5-speed pickup with, originally came with 410s in it. Unfortunately, kind of the base model, it's a custom, but we're working on that. Obviously, crank, windows, manual locks, whatever, that will change eventually. So let's talk about the heart of this thing. So obviously this pickup started out as a naturally aspirated 7.3 IDI. It's a 90. But now under the hood, we got a 7.3 IDI turbo with an S261 turbo. It's intercooled with a 6.0 intercooler. We have a 6.0 pipe over here. The rest of this is all eBay piping. This is some 3.5-inch stainless and an AFE filter that I rigged up for this thing. We got 2 Group 31 batteries in it. I do apologize, this engine bay is a disaster. To be completely honest, I've kind of lost the motivation to fix it. But anyways, back to this. So obviously, S261 turbo. This has an R&D hot side kit from Justin Anderson in Wyoming. This is a 3G alternator from Classic Diesel Designs. We have a 90cc injection pump from R&D. Also has R&D's camshaft, and it's got gapless rings in it. Also has 910 comp valve springs. This is still a naturally aspirated block, so it is not exactly rated for the higher horsepower that the later turbo IDIs can handle. Also has ARP head studs. I did have R&D return rails on it for a while, but I ditched it and went back to the regular style. Also has a crankcase vent out, the injection timing pump cover, Mishimoto aluminum radiator, 6.0 power stroke intercooler, Amazon special headlights, LMC truck grill that's held on with zip ties. It is also a Hydro Boost swap pickup. This is out of what would have been an F Super Duty, basically the F450 before the F450, and there's an example of one right there. So anyway, this might be a disappointing number to some of you, but in the last year since this got rebuilt, I've only put 2,000 miles on it. I just crossed over 1,000 miles since my first oil change video that came out however long ago. This pickup spent all winter in the shop. During that time, it got the new intake manifold. It got new front and rear axles. And then I came back this spring, and now it has a 38-gallon rear fuel tank. It's got a B&W Hideaway gooseneck hitch and a rear receiver hitch that's a Kurt. I still haven't done any trailer wiring on this thing in the back. That's another one of the things I've just been procrastinating. None of the kind of the bummer things right now is after I put that rear fuel tank in here, my exhaust tip no longer fit. So it's just rocking an axle dump right now, which is definitely a bummer. But a pro of that is that it drones way less as an axle dump, which doesn't really make any sense to me because you would think it would echo under the bed. But I guess since it just hits the ground, it doesn't dissipate, whatever. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit about the axles I put in it. So when I got it from my grandpa, this had already been Dana 60 swapped. It had a 410s in the front and rear. It had Kingpin Dana 60 up front and obviously Sterling 10.25 on the back. I came across a deal a couple years ago that was a little too good to miss out on. I got, for $1,000, I paid for a Sterling 10.25 rear with a 355 limited slip rear axle and a ball joint Dana 60 with 355s up front. Now, to some of you, that is a bit of a downgrade, I understand. But to be honest with you, there's not a whole lot of difference that's going to bother me. I'm not off-roading this thing. It's just a pickup. So the ball joint Dana 60s are just fine. Now, I strayed away from doing the reverse shackle kit because of my intercooler. But then a buddy of mine did a reverse shackle kit and then put a 6.0 intercooler in his. So, I mean, it's still on the table. But at this point, I'm so sick and tired of throwing money at this thing that I'm probably about done. So anyway, pros, cons, whatnot. We're going to start with the pros. This thing runs pretty darn well. Keeps up with traffic way better than before. With the 355s, it's way easier to drive down the highway. It's quite a bit quieter. I haven't got to map my fuel mileage out yet, but I'll get to that when I can. My air conditioner works really well. It sounds pretty good, runs good. I haven't got to pull very much with it, but I did hook a horse trailer up to it, and that pulled really well. Obviously, without trailer brakes, a little sketchy, but not a whole lot to complain about. I will say this thing does run a little warm. It'll run down the highway between 200 and 210, which is not ideal for these. I mean, the hotter it is, the more efficient they are, but normally these will run down the road at 180. Get away from me, cat. Or 190. I put a new fan in it from CarQuest or Advanced Auto, as you non-Montanans know it, and it really doesn't work very well. It's better than the one that was in there, but I've yet to hear it lock up. Normally you can feel it lock up very easily in these. I have not dealt with that. So that's one thing I've kind of still dealing with, is that this runs a little warm. Once again, if I hook the trailer up to it, it might be a bit of an issue. Among the things I need to do, we're still rocking a coolant jug reservoir. Works just fine, but you know, it's not ideal and it looks pretty ghetto. I'd also like to swap this battery over to this side and then just move my starter solenoid onto a plate somewhere in the box or something. So then I can actually run my intake up to here, and then I can still have my washer fluid reservoir and actual coolant reservoir, because right now I don't have one. Kind of sucks not having washer fluid. Now back to the issues of this thing. Still a little angry starting up. Golly! Now I have no blow by, my compression's fine, but the cons of having a manual glow plug button is you do eventually burn up glow plugs, which is kind of like the complete opposite of what it's supposed to do. But you know, sometimes I get distracted by a butterfly when I'm counting to 10. So yeah, it still does a little lopey thing on startup. I was having air intrusion issues that got fixed with the 38-gallon fuel tank, and I ditched fuel selector valve, so I only have a rear tank. There's videos on my TikTok that kind of follow through on the process, but yep, no front tank and big rear tank. I'm very happy with it, because before I had to drive this thing up on a ramp in order to fill it up, and then even then on the ramp I could only hold it at the lowest fuel setting. Now I can just let her rip. Now she still won't do the 30-gallon per minute truck fill up, but I mean, most pickups won't. Of course, with the 38-gallon tank, I also did the fast fill mod, which comes right up to there. I hope you guys can see it better than I can, but that fast fill is really what allows it to fill up faster. I still kept the factory breather up on top of the tank just because I didn't really have anything to plug it with. But yeah, air intrusion is gone. With the couple burnt up glow plugs, I do get a little bit of a lope on startup for a bit. Then it goes away and it's perfectly fine. As far as actual like engine performance stuff goes, being intercooled, I don't really ever see over about 800 degrees EGTs. This thing makes 15 pounds of boost pretty easily. It would probably make more if it wasn't intercooled, but being intercooled, it lowers the boost numbers, but it also cools down the intake temps. So even though the boost number itself might seem lower, it's actually, you know, there's a whole lot more air that's being able to flow into the cylinders, because cold air is more dense than warm air. Among my still things I need to do, I need to take this crankcase vent hose and route it into my intake, because that's still dumping. And it's not smoky like it used to be, but it's still just a little prettier to have it into there instead of just dumping on the ground. So that's one thing I need to do. Obviously, I need to get my exhaust tip put back on. Need to wire in my trailer wiring in the bed and on the bumper. Hood gap also needs fixed. Very, very badly. And I have an interior swap that needs to be done eventually, because my custom paint on my red dash is slowly bubbling and fading away. And I also have a water leak when it rains or when I wash it, so I need to get that figured out as well. Also, I'm about tired of this. I didn't do that as like it when I got it. But yes, interior swap is getting swapped from this blue and gray dash to a tan interior out of a power window, power lock pickup. It was an XLT Lariat pickup, and I have two Eddie Bauer seats out of a 2000s Excursion that'll be going in there. Not really sure what I'm going to be doing about the center console yet, because I would love a flip-up center console, but they didn't make any Eddie Bauers with flip-up center consoles. The seats that I bought came with armrests, so that's a little iffy, but we'll get her figured out. Another thing, I'm sure you guys noticed it. I notice it every time I look at it. Dealing with a bit of cab rust here. Probably not getting fixed anytime soon. Both of the cab corners do it. It's really common in these pickups because water will leak down through those split windows, or it'll come in the back through the rear cab light. Doesn't have a rear brake light, but the rear cab light, or cargo light, I guess, excuse me. But yeah, kind of a boring year update. Hasn't been a whole lot that's changed, to be completely honest, but the axles are very needed. I'm very happy about that upgrade. They make driving down the road much easier. The axle I bought also had like basically brand new bushings on it, so I didn't even have to change any of that. My old axle was pretty sucked out, and I was dealing with some death wobble up front because the track arm, or the pan hard bar that goes between the engine like cross member and the axle was completely shot. It was gone. And so that was causing it to have tremendous amounts of death wobble. Sorry, I haven't really got a whole lot done to it either. I've kind of ran out of motivation and haven't had time. I'd love to put this thing on a dyno someday, and I would love to kind of, you know, fix some of the little small things that bug me a lot, like the hood gap and the hood dents and the crappy headlights and the rust and everything else. But yeah, anyways, that's how she sits right now. I guess now we'll do some starts and some pulls and highway driving and whatever. Kind of average onto the highway pole to start in second because I can. Alright guys, it's been about an hour at 65 to 70-ish. These are kind of my highway temps and speeds and whatnot. Normally I do 70 at about 2200. Looking at 600 EGTs, about 2 pounds of boost, and about 195 degrees. Alright, we just finished the 125-ish mile trip back. We got 245 on this round trip here. Says about a quarter tank. And we're gonna see what she runs. That thing got filled up more than plenty. There's total, and actually take that number with a grain of salt to some extent because it filled it up to filler neck. Guess that pump was a little slow. So you got 244 there, and we're gonna add about 8 miles to that because of the speedometer being off a little bit. So you take about 250, 252 divided by 14.67 and you get about 17. Which honestly, I can't complain. There was no wind on the way there, but there was some wind on the way back, so you know, it just kind of is what it is. I'll tell you what, 17 is better than what I was getting with a leaking fuel tank, so that's a plus. But yeah, that's about it for now, I guess. Thank you guys for watching. I realize this isn't a huge update or anything. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below. I will see y'all next time, whenever that may be. To be completely honest, I have no idea when that will be, but we'll figure it out.